Welcome back to the Taglosive Space Podcast, Series 2, Season 2. How were we naming this, DJ? I feel like we took a long break there. I was thinking about that last night. We should probably come up with a new name.
SN2 maybe?
SN2?
Well, no, because we already named them like that.
I know, it would be SN2. So maybe it was Falcon 1 was our first season, and now we're on Falcon 9. And we better not take another break soon, because that'll leave us at Starship, and I don't know what's coming after that. What is up? How are you doing, my friend? It's been a long time.
Pretty good. It's been a while.
Good. You know, we've seen lots of things go up, lots of things come down. I don't even remember where we left off, so do you?
I actually have no idea.
Okay, me neither. So we're just gonna pretend that the past couple months didn't exist, and we're just gonna recap a few things that happened. So probably most notably, as far as space news that's occurred over the past couple months, SN8.
Yep. Although that is one of the things that did come down that didn't end so happily.
You know, it did come down, though, which was an improvement. I was wondering if Elon was just going to tank that thing all the way up and just send it to Mars. Just be like, yeah, I don't care if it comes back or if it even lands.
I thought you were about to go with the Drake and Josh reference where however many out of 10 skydivers don't ever make it to the ground.
Gosh. Is that because they never leave?
Don't know. It was Drake.
Okay. I have no idea. That sounds terrible, though. I hope all skydivers make it back. Oh, my goodness. So did you watch that live, or what were your impressions of SN8? Were you holding out hope that it would stick the landing, or were you impressed?
Up until the flames turned green, I thought it was going to go. I thought it was going to land. And then there was that crap moment whenever you knew it was going.
It was just not quite doing what we needed. Well, I was actually pretty impressed that it made it that far. Yeah. I was thinking we'd be lucky to see it past the 200-meter mark and kind of go on its kind of terminal flight. And honestly, when that first Raptor shut down and we were running on two Raptors, I was like, oh, and there it went. We lost SN8. I guess
especially
game's
being
over,
that the fireball kind of just was up in the skirt.
Yeah. Yes, I was just like, oh no. And like, you know that feeling, the sinking feeling, like if you were watching that Electron 13 launch where you know they lost the payload, and you just had that sinking feeling when like you see something bad happening and everything else looks like it's normal, but you're like, that was a big deal, that this is not good. But somehow that was planned and no one mentioned that. So here I was sitting there crying and then very confused when it just kept flying.
After the second one shut down, I kind of felt a whole lot better. But even then, the thing I was most worried about was right after it would start falling. Or at least that's as far as I thought it was going to make it, because I had no clue how those flaperons or whatever there are.
Elanurons,
there we go. Tim Dodd.
Yeah, I was, I'm not going to say I wasn't expecting any of it. I guess I just didn't know what the flight characteristics of the test flight was going to be like.
Yeah.
I was watching a bunch of animations and like they didn't have it going down to one Raptor at the end. The belly flop maneuver looked a lot more sketch in real life. It was just like the engine gimbaled all the way one way and then all the way the other way, and you just see the thing go. Actually,
I mean, it already looked pretty sketchy whenever in the renders itself, and then it happened.
Yeah, it's just like up on its very last little Raptor, and it pitches and then goes. And you're just like, oh no, is it going to make it? And then it makes it. And I was just like, that's great. Good job, SpaceX.
But nobody expected it to go up that slow, though.
Yeah,
it just floated.
It took like 6 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah. The whole thing was like 8 minutes and 30 seconds or something like that, and most of it was getting up there.
Yeah, I think that was also the longest we'd ever had a Raptor run, which was pretty impressive too. But I think during the launch when it was like, you know, hovering up there for like 6 minutes, I was like, oh boy, there must be something really wrong, because they haven't made it red yet, but they, maybe it's like burning off propellant or something because the other two engines shut down or something. I was like trying to justify it all, but it's all a part of the plan. Trust the plan, folks. I guess that's the deal with Elon.
Oh,
but
to be a fly on the wall in that place during that.
Totally. Oh my gosh, how exciting that would be, man. Elon seemed pretty impressed with how far they got, which was always a good sign when Elon's impressed about something.
He was probably really sandbagging what was going to happen, to be honest.
Well, thankfully it's not a public company, so he doesn't have to talk to investors about, their launch schedule or whatever.
Oh, God, if they did, we'd never hear the end of it. But once SN8 falls, SN9 rises.
Literally out of the ashes of SN9. It was I was pretty surprised that they made their target landing site so close to their facility.
For
like
real.
If I were them,
it's like a mile and a quarter or something like that. Well,
they still had like buildings and stuff, and I know it wasn't
tank farm and all that.
Exactly, and it was just like, oof, glad they got it where it was supposed to be, right? Like, their targeting was great. Unfortunately, their Raptors didn't start up quite right the second time, which hopefully they'll fix. But I was really worried there for a little while. Especially when
we'll see how it goes. I mean, if I remember right, I'm pretty I don't know if both of the tanks got changed from autogenous to helium-based pressurization, or if they only changed the was it the LOX or was it the methane?
I don't remember I don't remember which of the. It was just one of the tanks though. There's the LOX or the methane. I can't remember. Correct us in the comments below, please. Yeah.
But yeah.
So then pretty soon after that, SN9 maybe SN9 had one too many martinis in celebration because it was a little tipsy, and it kind of tipsied off its stand, and that was a sad day.
It saw what happened to SN8. It didn't really like it that much. So I was a little worried.
It was trying to yeet
Let me do it myself
off
first.
Of the stand. It's like, no, I don't want to blow up. But
I'm surprised at how fast they repaired that.
I know. It was like all crunched and stuff. And I was like, oh, well.
Like 2 days as I saw that happened, it was done.
Yeah, right? As soon as I saw that picture, I was like, oh, they're just going to scrap that thing because there's not much point in keeping it around. They got 5 more lined up. Exactly. Why would you waste time on that if you could just keep things going?
Yeah. But they didn't. And then it went to the launch pad, and we had 2 single static fires, and then we had the big 3-day static fire.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up super close on the static fires. So.
It's been so many streams, it's hard to keep up with at this point.
I know. It's pretty much at this point, if I don't see Tim or Space Eccentric or any of like my space people live on the Topper Lab Padre, I do follow him too. Like, there's just always like 3 or 4 live videos at the top of my subscriptions feed. Like, it just seems perpetually about space, and I'm like,
especially for the past week and a half.
Exactly. It's like, I would take all live streams instead of no live streams any day of the week, so I'm not mad, but
yeah.
It's just a lot to keep up with.
But yeah, we had 3 static fires in a row. I mean, granted, it was about an hour to an hour and a half in between each, but that's still 3 times Raptors were fired, and that hasn't happened yet, at least on a rocket.
Yeah, so. And not only are they the first time that they're doing that, but they're Raptors, so it's the first time any full flow staged combustion engine is doing that, which is just so many firsts. It's so fun.
But then they had to turn around and replace 2 of them, though, so.
Yeah. Did you think, going back to SN8, did you think that that green, when the engine was consuming itself, did you think that was T-Teb?
No, because I did remember back from Starhopper whenever it started going green, and we assumed it was eating itself from the inside out. So
yeah, that's true.
I started seeing people say T-Teb. I'm like, no.
But that was my first, like, oh, it's T-Teb. I know what that is. And I was like, wait a minute. That's on a Merlin engine Raptors use spark plugs. Nope.
Essentially.
Exactly. Yeah, they're big boy spark plugs. But man, so today, as we're recording it, it is the 25th of January, and we waited all day for SN9 to take flight and fly away. So probably between time we're talking about this now and the time it gets posted, which hopefully is going to be quick turnaround time, SN9 may have already flown. So if we're outdated, congratulations, this is your outdated podcast. And we'll cover it again next week because there's always stuff to talk about. Yeah. What about all of the launches that we've been having over the past couple months as we've been gone there? Like, oh my goodness.
Which one do you want to start with?
I mean, I think we should start with the most recent one, the rideshare mission. Oh my goodness. Did that have a couple satellites or what?
Just a few. Let's see. It's like you look at the customers page and it's, I don't know, about a dozen and a half different companies that are on this, maybe more. It's ridiculous. How many? Let's see if we can see how many rockets were. Or how many
I'm looking
satellites.
that up right now. Transporter.
143 satellites.
Oh my gosh.
And 3 additional payloads for a variety of organizations. Yep.
Wow.
A lot of different.
That is a lot of people. Can you imagine, like, most launches, there's probably like 1 or 2 rooms in the world of like all the engineers and all the people who are actually paying for the payload and stuff, who are all huddled around monitors, like crossing their fingers and turning purple and blue because they're not breathing as they're watching this flame ride on top of an explosive canister. Their expensive payloads all on top of it. Could you imagine how many people must have been that emotionally invested in this launch? Because that's the record for the most number of payloads on one flight.
Yep.
And there must have been a lot of people there holding their breath.
You ain't kidding. I mean, especially also since it was only the second polar launch from Kennedy in a long time too.
Yeah.
Or was this Kennedy or was this? This was SLC-40.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, SLC-40.
Air Force Station or Space Force Station, whichever one they want to call it right now.
Space Force Station sounds so much cooler. Like, my vote is
Space Launch Complex.
Space Launch Complex, I know. Who cares about the Air Force? Like, they're so mid of last century.
It does look like they have renamed it to Space Force Station.
Yeah, I think that was the official name that they changed it to. But, yeah. And then there's also that Starlink, and I don't remember what Starlink it is. I have Starlink 16 pulled up, and I'm going to quickly breeze through it. And I think it was the quickest turnaround they've ever done on a Falcon 9.
I forgot about that.
And they, like, barely serviced anything. Oh, yeah, fastest turnaround time of booster ever at 38 days. Previous record was 51. They shaved off, like, almost, like, 14 days there. And it was also...
And also they never did a static fire for it.
That's right. They didn't do a static fire, and it was the strongest crosswind landing ever with a Falcon 9. So they were pushing the
I didn't hear
envelope
about that one.
in like 3 different directions. And it was also the oldest booster, right? Wasn't that the...
It's the life leader. I think that was 8 flights.
Yes, that was his 8th flight. Man, that booster gets around. My goodness, what serial number booster was that? I'm not seeing it here. Oh, well.
B1051-8.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's the one. The whole fleet leader. That is so cool. And Starlink is growing so fast. Like, all of these different Starlink launches, I know we did a couple at the end of the year, and this was the first one this year. But, man, the cadence has not slowed down, and I am really looking forward to some crispy Starlink internet speeds one day. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Me too, sitting here with my 1.5 upload.
Hey, yeah, that's just enough to, watch a YouTube video. All those ISPs are like, oh yeah, 20 megabits a second down and like 1 up is like totally fine for most people. And I'm like, hello, no. That is not fine.
I will take issue with that. Now, I was actually I watched a video the other day. I can't Tech with Shay, I think it was the dude's channel name. He took literally a Dell server running PFSense on it, and connected to his house and servers inside of his house from like an hour and a half out in the woods with no cell service using Starlink. I was like, well,
wow.
That's the most overkill thing you'll see for a test set up in the middle of the woods, powered off of a car battery.
Oh, powered off of a car battery. Oh my gosh, those Starlink receivers though, I think they take like 50 amps or something. Like they're pretty high-powered little receiver things. And it's
amperage not really that much. I mean, it's since it's PoE, it's based off of wattage power.
Well, it takes it takes the maximum Cat 6 capable support, right?
I'm not really sure how much watts it pulls, but I mean it's probably around at least 40 to 60 watts, I would assume.
Don't want to slice that cable open. Hey, are you a Richard Branson fan?
Yeah, he's a little funky. He's kind of fun. What we got going on with him?
I mean, we have all of the eccentric billionaires building space companies. We have Elon Musk with his SpaceX. We have Jeff Bezos with Blue Origin. Peter Beck counts, right? Like, he's at least a millionaire. Maybe he's not a billionaire, but Peter Beck counts with Rocket Labs. And we got Richard Branson with Virgin Orbit. And, man, I didn't think they would be able to do it. So Virgin Orbit Demo 2 had a successful mission a couple weeks ago on the 17th of January. And they were able to successfully put a payload in orbit, making it the very first time an air-launched, liquid-fueled rocket put a payload in orbit. And it wasn't just a dummy payload. It was
NASA payloads.
It was a NASA payload, and it was only like 115 kilograms or something like that. So it was a pretty small payload, but it's nice to see.
Yep.
It's a big pet peeve of mine when a new rocket is being validated, like Falcon Heavy or whatever. Falcon Heavy, they made good use of the payload space, but a lot of other rockets, they'll just put like a mass simulator, which is like just a big piece of concrete up there or a big piece of steel. Yeah. And I'm like, if you're going to go through all the effort to send it to space, make it be something useful. Like, okay, maybe it's not the most expensive satellite in the world, but like, I could find...
Either that or just stick some nice high-res cameras on and
right?
Make it take some pictures.
Right, no, I'm pretty sure...
Make a fun live stream.
I'm pretty sure I could find like an iPhone and a car battery and like a big signal booster to, set this all up. Like, come on, we don't need to be sending dumb concrete blocks up there. Yeah. But that was a unique launch, though, because it took off, obviously the, is it Cosmic Girl, I believe, is the 747's name?
Yeah, so Cosmic Girl.
Yeah, so the 747 took off from somewhere in the Mojave Desert, I think.
Mojave Air and Spaceport.
Okay.
In California.
Yeah, in California. But it flew out just right over L.A. in like just out into the kind of bay of L.A., kind of out there. I don't think that's an actual term, but just out from the coast of L.A. And they launched in a polar trajectory, right? If I'm not mistaken, it was polar, which is really just
southbound, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, it was just like the wrong direction and everything, but it just shows how flexible that launch platform is. When you have an airplane that's launching it, you can pick your heading, you can pick where you are, you can pick, even what azimuth you're using and stuff. Like, you can be pretty specific about it. And did you watch the footage of how it launched? Like, after it was dropped from the airplane?
Oh, yeah, the wobble.
Yeah, it wobbled, and it had a solid rocket motor that was like supposed to settle the tank, because it's a liquid fueled rocket engine, and they need the propellants at the back.
So yeah, it drops off, the plane banks immediate right, and that solid rocket booster kicks on for a couple seconds, and it also goes into a slight dive as well when it does that too.
Yeah. Well, instead of just going straight up is what you'd expect, something that's launching to space, you expect it to go up because that's what we see here on the ground. But when you're at 40,000 feet, you're above not all of the atmosphere, but you're over like 70% of it. So
most of it.
They were able to just basically go level with the horizon to get into orbit, which I thought was different, because most of the time we see them go up and then
they
over.
Picked up speed and kind of used the body lift a little bit, and then started doing a power slide to go up. So it was pretty cool watching that footage.
Yeah, and I was very happy that there was that leaked stream, and I don't understand why they didn't. I mean, obviously, private company, they can do whatever they want, but I don't understand why they didn't have like a live stream.
They probably didn't want a recap of last time and have that live streamed.
We don't care. We understand. My goodness. It's literally rocket science, folks. It's not going to get any easier. Like, oh my gosh.
If it was any easier, it'd be called brain surgery.
You know, I would actually say brain surgery is more difficult than rocket science because...
Yeah, that joke just kind of like... Bye-bye, did not land.
No, that's fine. I
Not at all.
I found the humor in it, but unfortunately my analytical brain didn't allow me to enjoy the humor because I was like, wait a minute. I would rather have a more experienced brain surgeon working on me than a rocket scientist. Because at least if you're going to die in a rocket explosion, like, you're going to be remembered. But if you're going to die on the operating table with the brain surgeon, no one's going to know who you are. So, reasons to volunteer for Starship's first trip to Mars, folks. You could be famous. Did you see?
Have fun with that one.
One of the companies that we never really get to talk about because there's never any news for them, Blue Origin, finally had another launch, New Shepard. I believe it was their 14th test launch. And that one, I was like,
yes.
I guess I'm just not in the know of Blue Origin launches, or maybe no one is, but I didn't know about it until after it already happened. And I saw the Scott Manley video about it, and I was like, oh, when was that?
I knew it was coming up, but I did not even watch it. It's just going up and going down.
Yeah.
But that is the fourth New Shepard rocket they were using on that one. And I don't think they actually had any test articles other than reiterating on their design like they've had in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, this was also the first flight of this New Shepard. So this was an entirely new new rocket for this one. So.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, I didn't pay much attention to that one.
Yeah, I'm scrolling back here on all the launches that we've had since, I'm pretty sure, when we were going offline here, and I'm not really remembering anything hyper interesting. DM2 had already ended and came back. They came back in August, right? And then
yeah, I think that was
no. We haven't talked about Crew 1 though, have we?
What was the last one we posted? I'm gonna see that. Real
why
quick.
don't you look
Go ahead and start
up,
talking about DM or Crew 1.
Crew 1 was like in November, yeah? Or was it December? Man, time is so weird.
Yeah, it might have been December. Everything has just been like smushed together.
Exactly. There's no meaning of time anymore. I'm not seeing.
Let's see here. Playlist. Please
so CRS
yes,
21 was on December 6th. That's not helpful, but
it looks like the last thing that we talked about was titled SLS Moonshot.
I vaguely remember us not having a ton of news to talk about that day, so we kind of did a more...
Yeah, we kind of just ranted for a while.
Hey, those are the best ones. Oh, there it is. All right. November 16th, 2020 was Crew Flight 1. There it is. Okay, so we haven't talked about that, I don't think. Because when was that episode posted that you're looking at?
Let's see here. It was posted on September 8th.
Gosh. It's been that long. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
October, November, December. It's been 4 months since we made a podcast.
Oh man. Hey, we're gonna be a lot more regular now. Man, I feel bad for the two people who actually listen to this show, mostly yourself and me. But yeah, we'll be a lot more regular about it. Man. All right. So cool. We have Crew 1 to talk about. What did you think of the 0G indicator on Crew 1?
Which one was that one?
Crew 1?
Yeah. Yeah, what did they have on that one?
Oh, he was only the most cutest thing in the universe. Baby Yoda, come on!
Oh, that's right. That's right.
All of the Baby Yoda
forgot
plush
about that.
dolls instantly sold out. It's so funny to watch. As soon as anyone figures out what the 0G indicator is, they just all sell out. Like it happened with Earthy, and then it happened again with was that dinosaur? They had a name for the dinosaur. But yeah. So we had the
So that was November 16th that it went up.
November 16th, we had astronaut Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, Sharon Walker, and the JAXA astronaut, who I will spare myself from butchering his name.
He is absolutely hilarious.
He is, though. Oh, my goodness. He has been on a Soyuz, a space shuttle, and now a Crew Dragon. And I'm like, dude, you are an experienced...
Soichi
Noguchi. I can now say that now that I've heard it, but looking at the English translation there, I was not going to attempt that. Man.
Do you remember how goofy he was being out right after they walked out of the building before they got in the Model X's?
No, not really. What was he doing?
He was just doing like the over dramatic waves and stuff because they can't really move very easily in those suits. It's like, dude did not have a second where he was not smiling. It was hilarious.
Oh, that would be me. Oh, man. It'd be kind of nice to be, not that he's just purely a passenger, because he obviously had responsibilities and stuff, and there's a lot of training involved. But it would be kind of nice not to be the ones flying or being like directly responsible for the spacecraft and being able to like look out the window and enjoy yourself a little bit. Because I think Victor Glover was the pilot, right? And
Victor Glover was pilot. Hopkins was commander. And Walker was mission specialist along with Noguchi.
Yeah, it'd be kind of nice to be a mission specialist. Like I've always thought, if I ever could choose a position on a spacecraft, I've always just wanted to be the guy who's just along for the ride, because then I could bring my camera and just enjoy it, because everyone else is working way too much.
Yeah. But at least they didn't have to stay in there as long as Demo 2, because 2 more people in there. It's a little bit crowded.
Well, I'll tell you who has been spending a lot of time in the Dragon capsule is Mike Hopkins, because NASA was out of berths for astronauts on the ISS. That's the first time in like a long time that we've had so many astronauts on station permanently. Not just visiting astronauts, but we have the 2 Russians. We have what's the blonde chick's name? What's her name? Anyway, the last
I don't know.
The last,
because she went up on the last
Soyuz seat purchased. And then we have the 4 Flight 1 astronauts, and they only have 4 U.S. beds, or little, I don't know, they're not beds, but they're little, personal space. So Commander Hopkins is sleeping right now in the Dragon capsule, and like I'm like, that is the place to be.
It's probably the most comfortable, if we're going to be honest. He's got the most room out of everybody.
Exactly. And he has like windows, and like, he can leave whenever he wants. He's like, oh, I'm done with you guys. Close up that hatch. And
I wonder if he can just like pull up Netflix on the big screens or something.
Oh, totally. Oh, that would be nice.
Because, of course, the screens are just running a different version of the Tesla operating system, and it's got Netflix, Hulu.
Makes sense.
All that.
Makes sense. Hopefully he paid for the premium interior upgrade to get the GPS the GPS map. Boy.
What's it going to be, just pitch black and then a little pale blue dot?
That's kind of what we're doing right now. That's what we are on Earth. Just a pale blue dot.
Yeah. But another thing I actually didn't think about till we were going through how long it's been since we have actually recorded. SLS did something.
We're not allowed to say good things about SLS on this podcast, though. DJ, we cannot.
Oh, don't worry. It wasn't a full success,
okay,
so don't get your hopes up.
I want to poke more fun at SLS. I just love watching my tax dollars burn up in SLS.
So did you watch that or know anything about that?
I didn't watch it live because I was like, this is SLS. It's not going to happen. And so everyone was like, they had the NASA event and everyone was like, ooh, it's coming. It's going to happen. And they had all of the scripts and the personalities giving their speeches and going over the pre-prepared notes and stuff. And thankfully I wasn't.
The fact that it got delayed so long that they ran out of stuff to talk about.
That just tickles me. Like, could you imagine being the guy on the live camera and like your script is like now out, the teleprompter's now like reached its last line, and you're like,
it's like snapping back down whenever you try to scroll.
Well, Susie.
Well, off to engineering.
Let's talk about how the Steins Research Center was named after a racist. Okay, yay!
I've actually been down there to that place a few years back. Did the whole like bus tour around the complex. Saw it throughout.
That's pretty cool.
Saw where they were pretty close up.
That's pretty cool.
Few hundred yards away, but I mean, still, I mean the road passes kind of by it, so it's a pretty cool place. I mean. It doesn't get the love that the other touristy centers of NASA gets because it's a small area on the coast of Mississippi between like I think it's between like Biloxi and Bay St. Louis or something like that. And so I mean, you got all the main stuff in those other two towns, and this is just smack dab in the middle of nothing, pretty much. So
as most,
but it's still a cool center. They had when I went, they had just installed one of those simulators that you get to strap yourself in and have fun in. So
that's cool.
We're like, I think we were actually one of the first few people to go in it because they opened like a soft opening on it or something like that.
That's pretty cool.
It was okay. It was pretty cool.
When did you go?
But
like, was this so a couple years ago or like a lot of years ago?
Oh no, it's been probably 6 years ago since I've been.
Nice.
Something like that. But yeah, it was a cool place. But actually, what happened to SLS?
Well,
is it was supposed to go for 8 minutes, do its full duration.
Well,
how long did it go for, Nick?
Ish, plus or minus a few seconds.
A minute 7 seconds, 0.23 or something like that.
So at least we can say one thing: SLS has been ahead of schedule on at least one thing. Its shutdown was early. SLS's entire career. It's been early once.
Oh my god. But hey, that is a few firsts though. So that is the first time 4 RS-25s have been lit at once. That's the first time an SLS booster has been hot fired.
It was also the first time we had...
And you already said it's the first time SLS has been early.
The first time SLS has been early, and it was the first time that we had NASA press people run out of things to talk about. So it was just a wonderful show all around. I will say, though, the minute and 7 point something seconds were pretty glorious. Their live streams are still crap. I don't know what's wrong with you, NASA.
It's still 720p. I heard they're upgrading to 4K, but
I don't even need 4K.
I've also heard that for the past 3 years.
I just need something that's not overly compressed garbage. Like, I literally think the engine cameras were like at 480p, if that. And it was just like you're staring there and you're like, is this from the shuttle from like 1990? Because that's about what it looks like. And if it is, then fine. I'm glad we didn't waste money on more technology for SLS, which is ridiculous. But if these were installed within the last decade, forbid. I'd say no bueno.
But yeah, that the booster I believe has 23 total pressurizations it can go through.
Wow.
So they've used, I believe, 2 so far. Between a pressurization test and then this hot fire test. So they have up to 9 pressurizations that they can do down there on the coast, and then the rest of them they want to leave available for what's the name of the
Orion?
mission?
No, that's
the Orion.
What is the mission called, though? Yeah.
Wow. We're great space reporters,
we're not great
aren't we?
space reporters. We are the best space reporters. SLS is a terrible thing to talk about, though. What is that? Not the Artemis program, the other one.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
Is it Artemis 1? No, they have some other name for it, though, right?
Okay. No, the mission is Artemis 1.
Well, cool. I knew it then.
So, I mean, they're saving up those other however many pressurizations for scrubs on the launch pad down in Kennedy.
Which we'll definitely not have.
We'll see how that goes whenever it actually goes.
Because if there's one thing we know, if they flight validate every single piece individually, then when they bring it all together, it will work flawlessly the first time.
I know, right? You know, that reminds me of what actually happened to it. Sounds familiar. Oh, yeah. They don't test everything at once. They just throw it all together and then, hey, let's fire.
Hey, let's see if it works. Good thing there weren't people at the top, like with the shuttle.
So what happened at that minute and 7 seconds? Yeah. But what happened at that minute and 7 seconds was they were going to try a gimbal program. And as soon as that kicked on and whatever the thing that takes power from like vaporized fuel or whatever, I can't think of the name of it. But basically the motor, quote unquote, for the hydraulic pumps said, nope, I ain't having this.
Shut the whole thing down. That subcontractor is very sad right now.
Oh, so sad because he just gets paid more for longer it stays on there.
That poor guy's like, oh, my part failed. Please give me more millions of dollars, please. And NASA's like, here, let me get a shovel to help you shovel this money out. Oh my goodness. Poor NASA though.
We hate on SLS a little too much.
I know. I think I better backpedal a little bit because one of our listeners is probably on the SLS program and like in a seething fit of rage right now. It's not that I hate SLS, it's just not a good use of resources. And it's taking resources away from other projects which would meet the same goals that SLS could much quicker and cheaper. So.
Yeah. You know, if only budgets were just that easy to take, hey, let's scoop this up and drop it over here. But guess what? Bureaucracy.
And SLS, I know lots of people have done videos on this, how SLS is doing exactly what it was designed to do, not be canceled. So congratulations. They have made a crap sandwich so big that no one can cancel it. It's wonderful.
Don't forget they had to enlarge that crap sandwich like twice too.
Oh, and they'll enlarge it a few more times.
How much did they spend on that transporter or whatever?
Like 100. Yeah,
100 million, 200 million.
It was close. I think it was close. The whole grounds facility project was like close to $1 billion. Like that included the transporter and the tower, but also the plumbing and all that stuff too. And it's like, really, guys? I just cannot wait for Starship to have regularly scheduled tourist trips to the moon, and SLS-1 is still happening. We're still like, Artemis 1, go NASA, go space, or go SLS. And you're just like, yeah,
It's like you just see it slowly going around the moon, and then here comes Starship. And on the right, you see Artemis 1. Now, this got delayed just by a few years.
That's all.
The date is 2035.
Ouch. Oh, ouch. Don't say that. Oh, ouch. See, that's kind of something that, or at least our current political setup, isn't really set up for, these long duration missions. And I get it. Why SLS has to be so big, because it takes more than 4 years or 8 years to make a successful space program. So I understand the reasoning why SLS is still here, and I'm happy that it is, because if SpaceX and Blue Origin and all them go defunct, then at least, we'll have another chance to get to the moon before I die. But at some point,
as long as it doesn't take another 50 years.
It's probably going to take up until I'm 80, but hopefully at that point I'll be able to watch it on my Holo TV. But I don't think SpaceX I think there's enough third-party investment into space right now where we don't need to have these big crap sandwich programs that can't get canceled. Because NASA is the reason why SpaceX is alive, right? Like, they had the very first contract with the Falcon 1, the fifth launch or whatever, the first one that they sold. You know, the crew program, the DM, not the CRS missions. Like NASA is the bread and butter of SpaceX, but at some point, these big bloated government programs are not the future. And the quicker we realize that and pivot those same resources, like right now, third-party programs, commercial programs, and SLS are getting approximately the same funding. And could you imagine if we just stopped SLS? And I know that would put people out of jobs and kind of mess it up, but like invested that money into other companies where there would be similar jobs, but like probably twice as many of them because these companies are much more efficient.
Oh, yeah.
And don't waste years and billions of dollars.
It'd be something to behold, that's for sure. Just imagine what we could do in the same 10 years with just dividing the SLS funding up against everybody else.
Even just giving it to Rocket Lab and like all the smaller startups like Astra and like even if most of them go defunct, like you only need a few to survive, right? And SpaceX and Blue Origin and Electron and probably Virgin Orbit are all ones that are not going to fail. They have enough money and a momentum behind them that at this point we're not worried about their success as a business. We're just waiting for them to succeed as a goal of making it to the moon or Mars. So
yeah.
Go SLS! Yay!
It's like the Windows Explorer meme. It's going so slow. Okay.
SLS.exe has stopped working. Would you like to restart the program? No. Kill that program. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Has this derailed yet? You know,
not as bad as last time.
We actually had news to cover this time. The first 30 minutes were pretty good. And I don't think this is a news podcast as much as it is DJ and Nick talking about something they're passionate about for an hour and some change. So in that vein, I want to introduce everyone who watches the podcast to a very, very special friend of mine. You can't see it if you're listening to this podcast, which is why you should watch on YouTube. I have a Mariner 10 model. I was like, is it 9 or 10? And it's a Mariner 10 model. It's from the 70s, and this thing is a freaking beast. This is a 2-foot-ish model that is extremely detailed, made out of metal and wood, and it was actually made for the executives of the JPL program that put the Mariner space program together. So for the... I'll get to that in a second, but I want to give a little context to the Mariner program because I know this is like really deep space, and a lot of the people listening, like myself, are more versed in the new stuff. And so I actually had to do some research once I got this model, and I was like, okay, I vaguely know what the Mariner program is. They went to Venus, I think, or something like that. So I want to do a little more research. The Mariner program actually went to Mercury, was their big goal. The Mariner program was launched in the 1973. And so they were kind of late 60s, early 70s project. It's a space probe that its main goal was to take pictures of Mercury in detail that they hadn't seen before. And in order to get there, they had to do a gravity assist with the moon and Venus to get enough delta V to make it all the way to Mercury. And actually, it was the very first gravity assist ever successfully completed. So its gravity assist with Venus was the very first one. So that's some pretty impressive math way back in the 70s. It basically took some pictures. It did 3 or 4 different orbits because they're highly eccentric orbits. Every time it came back around, they were within like 90 days of each other or something. It was seeing the exact same side of Mercury because it was tidally locked basically with the rotation of Mercury. And so for a long time, scientists believed that Mercury was tidally locked with the sun. It actually isn't. Its rotation period just happened to exactly match this eccentric orbit that the Mariner program ended up in. Yeah,
that's pretty.
It wasn't until one of the more recent missions that they were like, I know. They're like, oh, wait a
unfortunate.
minute. This isn't actually tidally locked. But yeah, so this model is of the Mariner 10 space probe. There were actually 100 of these models made, all identical to each other. It's about 2 feet big, pretty hefty little thing, pretty fragile too. 50 of them were given to the executives and program managers at JPL, and these models were made or paid for by JPL. But the other 50 were actually given to the people who made them. And my grandpa actually worked on this project way back in the day. So he worked on building these cool. Mariner models. So he was not working for JPL, but he was a teacher, a woodshop teacher, and he helped assemble these models. And so he had one sitting up in his attic somewhere, I'm sure. My dad, who is actually a rocket scientist, had it for a while at his desk. But since we've all been working from home for the past year, he was like, I have this Mariner model. Would you like it? And I'm like, yes.
Please and thank you.
So now in the background of all the videos, I have a highly accurate model of the Mariner 10's probe, which is pretty cool. So that is the news. That's how I got it. That's what it is. You will now see it in the back of the videos if I keep it in the back of my videos. Yeah, but I still like this model better. This is of Starship, because Starship is babe, and Starship is actually going places. Mariner 10 went places and it was awesome, but Starship is going places. So go SpaceX.
Did it crash in, or did it still just?
I actually don't know what the demise of it is.
Because if it floated away, then it's still going too. I don't know what the demise
is of it. I'd imagine it probably either crashed into the sun or Mercury. I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe
something.
I don't know. Someone will have to look that up. I don't want to say either way. Yes.
Let us know in the comments
exactly. If you've made it this far. The one person who's listening to this show has made it thus far. Please let us know how wrong I am, because I don't know these things. I need your guys' help in figuring this out. Yeah. Well, let's see.
So, what do we got coming up right now?
What is coming up? Okay, well, that is a good question. We're still waiting on SN9, right?
Fingers crossed it doesn't happen tomorrow, and then just,
I have an M1 Mac Mini now, so as soon as you send me your footage, this will literally just be uploaded. That's how M1 Macs work. You just put the footage on them, they instantly automatically edit everything, and automatically it just takes like that. It's pretty nice.
Hey, you know who edit my video.
Yes,
Thank you.
I edit the video. And send me a big file because I want to play with it.
I really want to see how well that works out, because I've been thinking about getting one because they're so cheap compared to the one I got.
The reason why I have this Mac Mini is because I was like, well, it's $700. That's literally the reason why I have it, and I love it. So I have a very nicely spec'd MacBook Pro from 2017, but that's crap in comparison. Like, I click on Final Cut, and on the old Mac, I was used. Sorry, total tangent. When I clicked on Final Cut on the old Mac, I was used to it bouncing like probably 10 or 12 times before like Final Cut was completely open. Mac Mini, it's like not even an entire bounce. Like, the window is open fully before the icon bounces back down, and I'm just like, you way to go, Mac Mini. But anyway, Starlink 17.
There we go.
Transitions.
So that Starlink 17 is January 29th, so whatever day that is this coming week, it seems like.
If we're not scrubbed.
Yeah. I think that's going to be Saturday. If I'm right, I'm going to guess.
Sounds like you might be right. Friday?
Nope.
Right.
Friday.
Well, to someone in New Zealand or some
close.
other crazy time zone that like they get that extra day, then maybe, who knows. We'd have
maybe
a Soyuz Progress resupply mission going up, which is kind of cool, because I think Russia's going to start phasing those out now that we have cheap and reliable commercial space programs. And I cannot wait to see where those progress, because those progress, the Progress is designed off of a Soyuz capsule, right? And it's like, okay, You took a spacecraft that was basically a Vostok capsule from the mid 60s, and not the early 60s. Vostok would have been in design like late 50s, early 60s, and they've just adapted this capsule so many times that they came up with Soyuz, and then Soyuz Block 2, and then Progress Line 2, and it's just like a derivative of a derivative of a derivative of an old spacecraft. And it's like, come on, Russia. Let's get some more exciting things going. And
Yeah.
What else do we got?
So
we have an Electron.
That's everything in the nearest future
that's
so far.
Away, though.
Yeah. February 28th.
I hope we'll have another podcast up before then. Given our past track record, though.
Don't jinx us, Nick.
I won't. Oh my. So what's up with all these Chinese?
Well, let's just keep our fingers crossed. SN8.
What's up with all these Chinese
wait,
launches?
what?
Have you followed many of them? Like all these Long March, Tianjin? Okay,
Absolutely
I haven't
not.
either. But
I have no idea about these.
They're launching pretty frequently. Like we had one on the 27th of December, and then another one on the 22nd of December. And I don't know. They seem to be pretty frequent. And maybe it's just because we live in the U.S. bubble where we're more concerned about, Western rockets. And not to say I'm a huge fan. Yeah.
That and good live streams.
Not to say that I'm a huge fan of the Long March program, mainly because they drop empty tanks with hypergolic fuels on innocent villagers. Yeah. That's not cool. But other than that, I just don't know a lot about them. So maybe we'll have to figure that out for one of these next episodes. Yeah. Nothing else really coming up.
Well.
I'm not seeing anything else
interesting.
Do you?
I don't. I mean, the only thing that's really happening soon is another stream tomorrow that might end up getting scrubbed, depending on weather.
I haven't looked at the forecast for tomorrow for SN9, but I'm sure the people listening to this will be like, oh, the weather yesterday was great. Of course it launched. Why aren't you guys talking about this? Oh, my. Well, I think unless you have any other closing thoughts or topics you wanted to cover, we can call it a day here. Keep it just under an hour per the usual arrangement on this podcast. I really want to hit an hour at some point, but it seems like there's just not enough space news to cover a whole hour of content. So, Elon Musk.
I think as soon as SN9 goes up, we'll probably just sit there and how for 45 minutes, and then we'll go on to something else for a few minutes.
We'll be watching it in instant replay in slow-mo, and we'll be like the football commentators, and we'll get like our yellow stylus and be like, okay, so at this point in the flight, you can see that the Aileron was in this position, which meant that the airflow was going to be directed this way, which meant that it was going to pitch over and, sorry, let me grab my model here, and pitch over and land perfectly. But unfortunately, we had a perfect landing, so there was no explosions for the mainstream media to talk about, because that is one big pet peeve I had about SN8. As soon as the explosion happened, all of the articles were, Elon Musk's space company has yet again another explosion of a prototype. Elon Musk's space company is terrible.
Meanwhile, we were all sitting there screaming, cheering because it was fun either way.
I wasn't expecting it to get much off the pad. Oh, gotta love those people.
Oh man! But don't tip me about that telestrator. I will make it happen somehow.
Don't you dare do that. Oh my goodness. Well, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I think I've been Nick.
Sounds
You've
good
been
to
DJ.
me.
Where can they find you, DJ? I have realized we haven't been repping people's Twitters or whatever you want to promote.
Yeah, give me a second, because I'm honestly not sure.
Well, you are, because you follow me. I'm pretty sure I follow you on Twitter. Well, maybe I don't.
You follow me, but I don't even know my own.
It's in the link in the description below.
At DJ _
There you
Thornton
go.
_
Lots of underscores. Give DJ a follow. I'm at Nicky and Sweeney, spelled ANSUINI. No K in the name Nick. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. I say it like a grandma. Bye-bye.